All right, that's right. You're hearing from a different voice today. I'm not Steve Riley. You know, when I found out who this episode's guest was going to be, I may have locked Steve in the Regency Ballroom at the Hyatt so I could take over. Why? Because today we're talking to a legend. As a lifelong hockey guy, yeah, I still take my stick perfectly before every beer league game. I wasn't going to miss the chance to talk to this guy. Our guest today is none other than Grant Fuhr. Now, if you're not a hockey fan, you may not immediately recognize that name, so let me paint this picture for you. Grant Fuhr is a Hockey Hall of Famer, 5-time Stanley Cup champion. He was the backbone of the Edmonton Oilers dynasty of the 80s and one of the most clutch, resilient goaltenders the game has ever seen. If you happen to be a Boston Bruins fan, he may have made us cry more than once. He's also the first Black player inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. And his story on and off the ice is one of leadership, pressure, comeback, and growth. But today's episode is not just going to be about hockey. It's going to be about what greatness under pressure really looks like, some discipline, I hope, coaching, identity, and how to build a great life after the buzzer sound. So whether you've never watched a minute of NHL action or you grew up watching the Canada Cup of '87, yelling at the TV, there's going to be something here for you, I promise. So let's get into it. Grant, thank you so much for coming to the Atticus community today. I'm so excited to have a conversation with
you. Oh, it's my pleasure, Jonathan.
You know, I don't even know where to start. There's so many good things with you. So I thought the best place to start was to kind of talk about some of these iconic moments, the elite culture you got to play in. So I'm going to start with an easy softball to get us going. What was it like playing on one of the greatest NHL teams of all time?
You know what? As a kid growing up in Edmonton, you get a chance to play with half a dozen of the best players in the world. It's a kid's dream come true. I think more than anything, everybody dreams of playing in the National Hockey League, and I get to live my dream.
Yeah. It's funny those series of Oilers teams, there's so many of you that got inducted to the Hockey Hall of Fame. I mean, just so many great players there. So I kind of, when I was thinking about that, one of the things I wanted to ask you was, how did the culture, like that locker room culture, how did that push the team to be great?
I think a lot of that was Glenn Sather. And he brought us up in kind of a family atmosphere where you didn't want to let the guy down next to you. And we kind of look at it like that. He kind of referred to it as a chain link fence. It's only as strong as its weakest link. So you didn't want to be that guy that was the weak link. And with everybody thinking that way on the same page, it made us a pretty good hockey club.
What role did coaching play for you then as you were kind of on your trajectory?
Well, we were lucky at Edmonton. Glenn was always really positive. I mean, yeah, if you had a bad game, he'd let you know you had a bad game. But at the same time, he was positive the next morning. And we had the one golden rule. You can be mad at yourself, upset with yourself till you fall asleep. When you get up the next day, it's a new day. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to find a way to get better. So you keep it in those short segments like that. It's a better process because you get up, you start all over the next day. When that day ends, once you go to sleep, that day's over, you start again. And you just keep trying to build into something more and more positive.
That's genius. It is. When I was coaching youth sports, we would call it turning the page. We let the kids wallow, but then turn the page and let's go again. But I would imagine there's times where it's not that easy to turn that page, right?
Well, there's days when things aren't going well. The mind works really well. But that's when you have to kind of just force yourself to look at the positive side of it.
Yeah.
Because every day's got positive, every day, something positive in it. Every day's got something negative in it. It's what you choose to focus on.
Yeah.
It's kind of like golf now. In a round of golf, you're going to have negative, you're going to have positive. What do you choose to focus
on? Well, I think for some of us, right, we can't help but focus on that negative, right? So it's got to develop those tools to get out of that. So how does that work?
But it's human instinct to look at the negative.
Isn't it?
I think that's the unfortunate part, but since I've retired, I kind of like to look at sports psychology, still read a bunch about it. I've become friends with a couple of sports psychologists and just to see the thinking side of it. And it's something you actually have to learn is to look at the positive side of things. Everybody looks at the negative. Everybody points out the negative. Nobody really takes the positive. So you've got to find a way to pick out the positive and try and run with that. When I was coaching, I wouldn't show guys the negative stuff. I'd show them the positive stuff. just because you want them to believe in themselves.
Well, now you're really talking. We could initiate you. So there's a few of us in the Atticus community that are Whoop members, and we developed an Atticus Whoop kind of group there, so you can all see who slept well last night, who didn't. So Whoop's a great tool. What are the tools you're using to kind of help build the habit of gratitude? Because I do agree with you, it is a habit that's worth building.
I've always tried to find something, try and learn one thing new every day, try and find something positive every day.
Yeah.
And I've done that since I was about 18 years old.
Huh.
So
Do you remember?
Sorry.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. I really finished the answer.
So if I can pick something out that's positive every day, then I've succeeded at that side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not every day runs perfect. And if you travel, you'll find that there's not a lot of positives traveling anymore, but still trying to find something positive. So I just make a point of it.
Yeah. So you're really speaking to what's near and dear to me. I created a gratitude habit some time ago, and use the tools that I use. But what I'm curious to learn about is, you mentioned you started when you were kind of 18, 19. Do you remember what sparked that? Like what said, I'd want to start doing this?
Yeah, just watching different guys. I mean, obviously you have Wayne Gretzky in the room who's positive all the time. Glenn Sather was a very positive guy. He was big on the positivity. Mark Messier was big on the positivity. So it's kind of a culture that was ingrained to us.
Yeah. So it was built, and then you chose to absorb that culture, right?
You absorb it and you try and build on it. And I still use it to today.
Some of us, we lead our teams, we have our business, and we're doing it for a while, and it can get stale, like all those things. And, here you are, right? Most people say he's washed up, he's out, and you go at this amazing stint and really was the gateway to this awesome end of your career. So how do you make that pivot? What's that like?
Well, again, it's trying to believe in yourself. I mean, at that point, there was lots of doubters, but I didn't doubt myself. So when I got to St. Louis, it was like, well, you're going to play a little bit. I'm like, okay, great. Didn't have the greatest training camp, but got to the year and started to play. And then Mike Keenan just, well, are you tired? And I'm like, no, tired, a mindset. So you just play. And ended up playing the first 76 in a row, and then kind of tweaked the knee a little bit and took 2 games off and ended up playing 79 of 82.
Right.
So it's a mindset more than anything else, that you have to have belief, and it doesn't matter. You can tune out all the negative.
Yeah.
And there's always negative. Everybody wants you to fail. So if you can find a positive and try and be successful, success is a catchy thing. People will jump on that bus if they see how positive and how much you believe.
That's so powerful what you just said, right? And when we look at, people that, may have all the skill in the world, but, fail at that leadership part, right? I think what you just talked about plays a role there, which I think ties back into something you said earlier. As we kind of started talking about the second part of your career, one of the things you had mentioned was when you finally got that goal, the goalie coaching, it wasn't technical stuff. You weren't learning, different save techniques. It was all mindset type positivity stuff, which I would argue. Yeah.
The older you get, the more the mind has to work. It's the hardest muscle in your body to train, because natural instinct is to find the negative, where you've got to train yourself to find the positive and build off the positive, and you build belief that way.